Paris, spring 1925, a city reborn. Laughter in its cafes, jazz on its streets, and pride towering high above it all. The Eiffel Tower, iron, immortal, untouchable. But what if I told you someone sold it? Not leased, not borrowed, sold it. Not once, but twice. This isn't legend, it isn't rumor. It's the true story of Victor Lustig, the man who turned confidence into currency, and Paris into his personal marketplace. Like Finny says, if it sounds impossible, someone's probably already invoiced it. Victor Lustig wasn't born rich or royal. He was born clever. In the small town of Ostine, Austria-Hungary, he discovered early that charm opens more doors than honesty ever could. He was fluent in multiple languages, impeccably dressed, and never without a smile that seemed to know a secret you didn't. In Paris, he ran card games and fake investment schemes. In London, he sold magic musical boxes. And across the Atlantic, he perfected his masterpiece, the money printing machine scam, a box that, he claimed, could print real banknotes using chemical reactions. He wasn't just a con man, he was a psychologist with a suit. He read greed like a book, and sold the ending back to you. Like Finny always says, confidence is the real currency, and Lustig printed it in bulk. France was recovering from the Great War. The nation's pride stood tall in the form of the Eiffel Tower, but it was expensive to maintain. Rust had crept in, bolts were weakening, and officials whispered whether the monument had outlived its purpose. In secret, government committees discussed its demolition. And where most saw national sorrow, Victor Lustig saw an opportunity. He forged government documents, complete with official seals. He rented a luxury suite at the Hôtel de Crillon, the kind of place only officials could afford. And there, posing as the deputy director of the Ministry of Posts and Telegraphs, he summoned the city's top scrap metal dealers. They were told, in utmost confidence, that the Eiffel Tower was to be dismantled and sold for scrap. Each man smelled profit. Each man wanted a piece of France's Iron Crown. But only one man would pay the price of a lifetime for trusting too much. With his calm authority, precise words, and government polish, Lustig controlled the room like a maestro. He spoke of budgetary burdens, logistical efficiency, and national secrecy. Every phrase sold legitimacy. Every gesture sold confidence. Among the bidders was André Poisson, an ambitious scrap dealer desperate to rise above his peers. Lustig studied him, his nervousness, his desire, his pride. Then he struck. He invited Poisson for a private dinner. He flattered him, hinted that certain officials expected discreet compensation. Poisson took the bait. He paid the bribe and the price for the tower. Days later, he proudly prepared his trucks and equipment to begin dismantling, only to learn the horrifying truth. The government knew nothing of any sale. Victor Lustig was gone. André Poisson said nothing. The humiliation was too great to bear. Like Finny likes to joke, greed blinds faster than fog in Paris. Lustig fled to Vienna, calm, wealthy, untouchable. He read the papers daily, expecting headlines about his crime. But silence. No scandal, no outrage. Poisson had buried his shame. That meant only one thing. The con had no witnesses. And so, a few weeks later, Victor Lustig returned to Paris. Same plan, same forged documents, same hotel suite. He invited a new group of scrap dealers. Confident history would repeat itself. But one man among them didn't buy the act. He noticed small inconsistencies, traced Lustig's government address, and alerted the police. Before they could move in, Lustig vanished again. Like Finny says, you can outrun the cops, but not your own legend. Paris had become too hot, so Lustig took his genius overseas, to the land of opportunity. In the United States, he reinvented himself again. He became Count Victor Lustig, a nobleman fallen from grace, now investing in American enterprises. And soon, he was running one of his most legendary scams, the money box. A small machine that, he claimed, used chemical fusion to duplicate real banknotes. Victims fed in a $100 bill. waited 6 hours, and the box produced another. By the time they realized it was a trick, Lustig was long gone, along with their fortune. But even that wasn't his biggest con. He once targeted Al Capone, the most feared gangster in America. Lustig borrowed $5,000 from Capone, promising a big investment. Weeks later, he returned with the same $5,000, claiming the deal had failed. But he didn't want to risk Capone's money. Capone, impressed by his honesty, rewarded him with $1,000. That was the real con, a trust con. Like Finny says, if you can fool Capone, you've earned your spot in the Con Hall of Fame. But even legends run out of luck. By 1935, the US Secret Service had caught up with Lustig. He was printing counterfeit money on an industrial scale. Bills so convincing, they disrupted the national economy. He was arrested, tried, and sentenced. But even then, he escaped, slipping out of a federal prison in New York before being recaptured weeks later. His final stop? Alcatraz. There, behind cold stone and steel, the man who once sold the Eiffel Tower now cleaned laundry for a few cents a day. He died in 1947 with only one possession in his cell, a handwritten note that read, "Count Victor Lustig, salesman." Like Finny says, every empire of lies eventually defaults. Victor Lustig sold more than a tower. He sold belief, the same invisible asset that still drives markets today. Investors, CEOs, politicians. We all chase confidence, even when the numbers don't add up. Lustig simply understood that earlier than most. He proved that people don't buy products. They buy stories that make them feel secure. Like Finny once said, if someone promises easy profit, they're probably selling the Eiffel Tower. In a century defined by chaos and recovery, one man dared to test the limits of belief itself. He proved that confidence, not currency, moves the world. And even today, his story reminds us that trust is fragile, greed is timeless, and illusion is still the most valuable commodity on earth. Like Finny says, not every acorn needs to be a forest. Some just need to survive winter.